Well, U.S. businesses are trying like mad to do business in Myanmar. That used to be called Burma, despite the fact that the U.S. government's not so keen on it. John Bussey is here to explain the situation. It's a military junta that rules Myanmar quite brutally, right?
Yeah, it's a very odious political situation there. I mean, what's happened is that Hillary Clinton goes there tomorrow on Wednesday. She's going to be the first Secretary of State to get to Burma in over 50 years. And this is a place that has basically cut itself off from the world since 1962. And if you go, it's like
since
walking
independence with Britain, right?
Yeah, or shortly thereafter.
Yeah.
It's if you go to Myanmar, it's like going into Havana. I mean, it's these ancient cars on the road and crumbling buildings, and that's as a result of a very repressive military regime. The last year has seen some political liberalization, enough for Obama to send Clinton there, and for hopes to rise in the business community that this is going to result in the ending of U.S. sanctions against Burma.
John, what do they want? What do U.S. businesses want? Obviously, you're talking about a poor country, so it's not going to be a market for goods and services. Is it cheap labor?
Yeah. Well, they want everything, right? This is like one of the last Asian countries to plug into the global grid. That's what's left. North Korea. It used to be the biggest rice exporter in the world. It's an abundant place. It has a lot of minerals. It has oil. It has gas. So they want everything. They're looking at the natural resources there. They're looking at providing the infrastructure equipment to build roads and highways and buildings. They're looking at sort of the need for medicines. It's across the board. When you talk to the various American chambers of commerce in Southeast Asia, they say virtually everybody, the hundreds of businesses that are part of our groups, are lining in to try to get into this market.
And many based in Singapore, which is strategically located.
Yeah, that's right.
Right by that. Now, what I know about military dictatorships is they tend not to go out gradually. They tend not to sort of roll it back slowly. That's not a common way to go. They tend to get ousted. Is it going to be different here? Are they going to get ousted by a popular uprising, or are they going to do the unusual thing, which is to give more freedoms slowly over time?
Yeah. Well, we don't know, and that's one of the big question marks for business. So far, in the last 12 months, it's been the latter that you've described, slowly but surely letting go political prisoners, allowing opposition groups to register for elections, that sort of thing, which looks good. And
but it's 1 year.
That's right, and it's the way for the military regime there to position itself to get growth that it needs, and also, quite frankly, to find other investors in the country other than China. They're quite worried about this neighbor to the north, and the fact that it has invested widely in its natural resources, and it's scarfing all these up into China, and Burma's concerned that it's going to get left behind as a result of that.
So Hillary Clinton is going there. So that's a new step. That's something we're doing differently. What's the holdup? Are we waiting on Myanmar, or are we waiting on the United States? Are we waiting on a country that is hesitant to lift these restrictions?
Yeah. The U.S. will say that we're waiting to really be sure that this process of liberalization carries onward. I mean, this is a truly odious regime of violence and political prisoners, and it's all the bad stuff that you could imagine with an authoritarian government. At the same time, for
in a peninsula, Southeast Asian peninsula, that is full of countries that have liberalized and have embraced capitalism and freedoms, like Thailand, Vietnam, Laos, right?
That's exactly right. And Burma's looking around and seeing everybody with BlackBerries and iPads, and they're thinking, we're missing out on this. We need to plug into this. And business is looking at this and saying it's 54 million people. This is not a small market. Right. This could be a big chunk of our future growth.
Do you think, based on what you know about Asia, that this goes straight line, or whether it's going to be jagged? What do you think? I mean, you know Asia very well.
This is a stunner that Hillary Clinton is going there. Right? This is not something that I would have expected to happen, given that
January 1 this year, you would have said that would have been last on your list?
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it's given 50 years of this repressive regime, and we saw in Vietnam that they liberalize and then they retrench and they throw people out and they restrict again, but then they liberalize further. So the dotted line has been basically upward for Vietnam. And my suspicion is that if Burma's smart about this, that they will learn particularly from Vietnam, and that you'll see a similar trajectory, if not faster. They got a lot more problems than Vietnam, but it could be faster. That is, if they're smart about this.
Okay. And what could they learn from the way that other dictators have sort of given power over. And I'm thinking Pinochet, who was a dictator in Chile, brought the country from poor country to middle income quite quickly, and then eventually gave over power to democratic forces.
Yeah.
Is there anything they can learn in Myanmar from him?
Yeah, they don't need to look that far afield. They just need to look to Vietnam,
right.
Which still has an authoritarian Politburo. And it has managed to liberalize. You'll go into Saigon, and this is a bustling city. It has the vibe of Bangkok. There's a lot of private enterprise going on. What they need to learn is that they need to get their financial infrastructure in place. They have a currency that trades 5.5 kyat to the dollar officially and 800 to the dollar on the street.
Real quickly, when do you think these companies are lined up? They want to get in. When is it going to happen?
Yeah, I think it's going to be tough for Hillary Clinton to walk away saying we're going to liberalize sanctions just on this first visit.
Right.
I think we're talking months, if not a couple of years.
Yeah.
Okay, well, good luck to her there. I hope we get them to liberalize.